Yeah, let's start with that. Hello, everybody. We just got some potential. What do the kids these days call it? Tea. Yeah. What? So what we got? What we talking about here?
So, word on the street. What we're finding out is that Liv's our favorite person, and by favorite I mean she could fall off a cliff, and honestly, no one would really mourn her. Our favorite person, Chaya Raychick, aka Libs of TikTok, aka that person who tends to everywhere she goes, bomb threats follow. Yeah, her. Turns out she almost had some good news. Almost.
Oh no! What was almost good news?
She almost managed to get somebody to marry her. Now you have to understand, all of her siblings are already married with a good amount of kids of their own. She's just simply the Christmas cake on the shelf. And at 28 years old, for an Orthodox woman, she's basically an old maid.
So, if I am to get this straight,
didn't
intend for that, but
here we are.
She is not upholding the societal construct of a man and a woman entering into a covenant, starting a family in the eyes of God.
No, baby,
she has failed in her duty.
She not.
This is delicious. I really hope it's true, because I would like for her to be sad.
I have a feeling it's true. It's too personal and painful on a private level for it not to be. It's the fact that she got engaged in April. Orthodox culture holds that you should be married within 2 to 3 months of that engagement being announced in your little community. Baby, it's October. She ain't married yet. So the rumor is that her intended's family really thought about it and said, do we really want to be linked to that bitch? She's a shanda. Honestly, she really is. Like, do we really want to be linked to that bitch?
I feel great vindication that USA Today, of all places, not exactly known for being a liberal bastion, finally a sort of a newspaper that big, because the New York Times wasn't going to do it, put together a compilation of her greatest hits, of where she singles out individuals, organizations, schools, and events follow. And we don't really need to get into the whole facile thing. Like, I'm not directing anybody to do anything. They've never found any of these people, blah, 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 blah. There's a concept in the law known as the reasonable person.
The reasonable person standard.
Yes. And if you as a person had a TikTok account and you highlighted all these people you think are doing something wrong.
Facts.
And there just so happened to be bomb threats for like 20 of them. And anytime there's a new one, there's a new bomb threat. Schools, cafes, hospitals. If like a bunch of the times that you do this, not every time, but a bunch of the times you do this, there are bomb threats that follow. A reasonable person would have to think, maybe.
It's me. Hi. Yeah. I'm the problem. It's me.
I don't like that song, believe it or not.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm the opposite. I think that is literally, that entire chorus is one of Taylor Swift's best musical, best bits of songwriting. I think, I'm not saying give her all the Grammys. No. I think that should be something that should be cross-stitched. I think that should be the caption of so many basic white bitches Instagram posts.
I like Folklore and Happiness.
Like, I'm not even, maybe it's because I'm not really that into Taylor Swift. I just like that one line so goddamn much.
Yeah, I'm not really that into her either, but like I've never heard anything from her I've disliked. And I've heard stuff that I have liked. So it's, I am not agnostic. I like her.
There are things to like about her.
Yeah. I wish there were other artists who had that much popularity, but I don't begrudge her the popularity.
That's fair. Right now though, I'm really hooked on Megan Thee Stallion's new single.
I haven't heard it. I was thinking of there's this one song of hers I really love called "Crying in the Car," and it's just this really like for anybody listening who doesn't know, it's this really there are lines in the song that are so visually stark. Crying in the car, all the tears turn. I think it goes. All the tears turn to ice on my arms. That's why I go so hard. I just really like it. It's like this inverse of saying, "Yeah, I went through some shit. That's why I'm strong." There's almost an element of I should have never had to be this strong.
I mean,
and I really like that. Yeah, it's I really like that one. So that's on my list.
That's I know right now she's really leaning. I do appreciate, and I think that just leans into the fact that Megan Thee Stallion is like, yeah, I'm a Black woman, therefore everyone is expecting me to be strong and not to take shit personal. But guess what? I do, and shit hurts, motherfucker. And Cobra actually covers that. And what gets me is how so many people initially are like, yes, more booty shaking music. And now at the end, they're like, is it possible to twerk and have a breakdown at the same time?
I think it's one of those things that people can choose to look at something on the surface level and surface level only, or they can choose to engage with it for what it is and what it's saying. And I think it's like, if you see booty shaking, you think, oh, this is only booty shaking. Okay. It's the same sort of thing. You watch certain like horror or sci-fi movies and you think, ooh, cool ships. But yeah, I don't know. Wait a minute. Star Trek was utopian all this time. There was politics in Star Trek. What a bunch of woke nonsense. Like, you're focusing on the shiny shit. Look at everything.
Yeah, it's like you must look at the context. It's the fact that she broke away from her record contract. Cobra's her first independent single. She has just been through a major court trial.
And Tory Lanez is in jail.
Tory Lanez is in jail, yeah, but there's still people rounding around Twitter with free Tory Lanez.
Fucking Drake. Fucking Drake.
I expected better out of Aubrey.
I do not expect anything out of Drake. That is a man who has too many underage girls' phone numbers in his phone for me.
Yeah, that whole Millie Bobby Brown thing got me wondering, like, bruh.
Yeah, there was one other, I think, that it was just sort of like, I don't know. It's weird that you have
like, should we be expecting a surviving Drake special in 20 years? Should we be expecting a surviving Aubrey special?
It's giving off the vibes, and like I said, and I love to crow about how I totally called that shit with Kevin Spacey a decade before it even hit, and there was a lot less to go on there than there is with Drake.
And now you're like, I'm not saying I'm calling it, but
so it's what Drake said about Megan Thee Stallion. It's also the shit he did with Halle Berry, and it's just like,
yes, that to me, I was like, you didn't need to do that to Auntie Halle. No one asked for you to do that to Auntie Halle. Like, and now what I'm loving is now Black women are looking at Drake and going, do you even love us at all? If this is what you do to, like, women that we hold in super high esteem and we respect, do you even love us at all, bitch?
If this is how you act in public, I mean,
Exactly. But like I said, Cobra, the video was stunning. The video was very stunning. It was very vulnerable. There she is in a green box, looking all like with her peeling skin off, like in the view of everybody taking pictures. It gave what it needed to give. I'm not just saying, and I admit it, part of me is saying it because this is the work of a free woman. She took a sample of a obscure Chick Corea song. Yeah, Chick Corea.
Shit, my dad used to listen to Chick Corea.
Exactly. Like, I think there's a lot of people whose dads liked them some Chick Corea until they found out he was a Scientologist. But you know what? We okay with that.
I'm sorry, what?
Oh yeah, Chick Corea was a Scientologist. I thought you knew.
Why do I keep being surprised about this? I guess I forget that once upon a time it was a much more powerful organization.
Yeah, they just have, all they have now is just money. They don't really have, people immediately know they're lying if they say anything. So, you know.
So, oh man, you gotta love the sort of that you gotta appreciate the deep cut sampling game, like like that goes into it. That says like, all right, we know within minutes, everyone's going to know where it's from, but like how much of it is, what can I turn people onto that they might not already be listening? Because I know it's not all just this is perfect for the song. I think some of it is someone like it, this is on my playlist and I want you to know that this is on my playlist.
I think it's also the fact that some of the visual she had was borrowed from some anime. Every so often she borrows a visual or a sample or a small sample sound from an anime, and I'm just like, oh, okay, bitch. I keep forgetting that you are low key you are weeb, and we love that about you. We love that for you. Like the time she tweeted something and I think she was in like a Sailor Moon outfit, and someone tried to shade her in a whole Nicki, and I said, listen, Megan is tweeting from fucking Japan. Meanwhile, Nicki Minaj's husband gotta ask permission from the state to go into the city. So, I mean, really, what are we doing here?
I just the endless amount of shit she has to go through. So I appreciate her being at the top of her game, and
I'm looking forward to seeing what more she's gonna do as an independent. And I'm actually might see Dix just because she's in it.
Wasn't on my radar, but I'm interested.
Like, bro, she's in a musical. She's just playing a bitchy boss. She's not playing like I'm like, okay, we see you.
So we love Megan Thee Stallion, basically. And I
We're here for her.
We got off track because we were talking about Heretic, and she's a terrible human being, and we'd probably rather be talking about awesome human beings. But I think I just want to say with the Heretic thing that it's not. The common defense that she proffers is that she doesn't direct anybody to do anything. How do we know these aren't, other type of people trying to make, we don't know who they are, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
These are all publicly available information. I'm not posting anything that isn't already public.
You're publicly available.
Yeah. But if you go and say, hey, the guy that lives in the blue house over there is a pedophile. Hey, the guy that lives in the blue house over there is a pedophile. Hey, the guy that lives in the blue house over there is a pedophile. Why won't anybody do anything about the guy that, like, oh, look, here's these people. These type of people are all pedophiles. He's another one of these pedophiles. You're basically saying you're riling up a crowd and expecting them to act because you're equating people who basically exist as queer people anywhere near someone who might possibly be a child and saying this person is a pedophile. They play stupid, and they say they're grooming them, and they're trying to say that grooming doesn't. It's just all a bunch of semantics, and it's a bunch of childish shit with the semantics.
Grooming is a pastor pulling a kid aside and telling them that God told them to tell that child that they're special.
Yeah, grooming is what happens in, the Southern Baptist Convention. Grooming is what happens with the Catholic Church. Grooming is what happens when you have police officers, youth pastors,
your Mormon stake minister. Grooming is what happened.
Chair of the county Republican Party. It's the Josh Duggar, which interesting. Let's lead into speaking of.
Are we going to be talking about the speaker?
Yes, we're going to be talking about the speaker.
Oh boy!
The way that our current Speaker of the House basically had to have an accountability buddy to make sure that he doesn't watch porn, and that accountability buddy is his son.
Sir, that sounds more like y'all sharing a porn collection than y'all playing accountable. That just sounds like some mess.
Let's get real too. The idea that you need, having accountability is like having a sponsor for AA or something. You have a lack of control, so you need someone to watch you. If you have, look, I realize that there's all sorts of addictions, and pornography can be one type of addiction. And I realize that any addiction can be harmful. This isn't casting aspersion on pornography. It is casting aspersion on the type of people that thinks that that creates something that is shameful in their eyes and has an uncontrollable urge for it and says, I need someone watching over me, judging everybody who engages in it while they need the self-control to be stopped from engaging in it.
It's the fact that they think a once a month wank off is enough to call it an addiction. You would be shocked at the threshold that they impose on others while doing way worse when the lights are out. I mean, there is the anecdote about how adult media viewing in hotels jumps 3 to 5 fold anytime you have a convention of pastors or clergy in a hotel.
If you create a giant shroud of shame around something for which there shouldn't be shame, it becomes something that someone feels shameful about and has to hide. And when they have to hide it, it becomes destructive and absolutely can turn their life upside down. And the lengths people will go to hide something that they feel shame in are lengths that can be incredibly destructive to the people around them as well. And so, but I think the big thing is here, I am not saying there's any shame in consuming pornography, but I am saying there is shame in living a lifestyle that teaches people that pornography is a horrible, horrible thing, and that you have to be controlled because your urges are telling you that you need your own goddamn son to stop you from consuming it. That is putting shit on your son that your son doesn't need.
That's just leaving it open to some really appropriate lengths of the relationship.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's a Republican. We can't really throw that out there. We can't really dismiss that altogether.
I look upon suspicion anybody who says that without accountability they have no control over things that that are shameful.
Yeah.
When it comes to things that aren't shameful, I have pity. Like whenever someone says, well, the argument, Dennis Prager loves this kind of thing. Without God, where is morality? Like we develop it through having empathy and developing that sense of empathy through community and family and friendship. And
I mean, empathy really kind of is a series of agreements.
And
it's a series of agreements.
When you say that you believe that without God there is no morality, I hear that you need God to prevent you from hurting people. And that is not to, not to cast aspersions on people who have faith.
Yeah.
It is saying that argument and that point of view leads me to believe that you have no self-control and you need someone keeping you accountable, because without that accountability, you would just go off.
Yeah, and it's like the idea of saying that you can't give yourself enough credit. Like, what? That you are so weak, you cannot give yourself any credit at all.
Yeah, it's.
Is this really what we doing?
I mean, at this point, pointing out Republican hypocrisy is like shooting fish in a barrel. It doesn't get anywhere. It doesn't convince Republicans that they shouldn't be Republicans. It doesn't convince Democrats who, you're preaching to the choir at that point. But it is something I think that needs to be noted. Our new Speaker of the House is somebody who very clearly has a porn addiction while he's trying to sell people on upright morals and family values and godliness. And it's like,
meanwhile allowing acts with absolutely no compassion be put forth and treated as something serious. Right now, buried in a transportation bill, in which will end a lot of other associated programs, is a section that will lower Pete Buttigieg's Secretary Buttigieg's salary to $1.
They've done that with other people. They've put
they did that with they attempted it with General Austin.
Yep, and there's one thing that the people that they have done this to have in common, and it's what they're not.
Yeah, they're not white, they're not male, they're not straight. I think they talked about doing it to Rachel Levine. I think they talked about doing it to various people belonging to various groups that Republicans don't want to admit they love to clobber, but they love to clobber. Yeah. It's the fact that you're going to do this to a parent of 2 children, married to a teacher who's on leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have my criticisms of Pete Buttigieg. I don't like anyone, and screw you, anybody who said, all 3 of you who are watching, who says that I am thinking of this only because John Oliver did a thing about it. I've been saying it for since we started this year.
No, you hate McKinsey.
I don't trust.
You hate McKinsey. Listen. I think general distrust of McKinsey is, if you are old enough to have a key card and you have an email address that's first name dot last name at business, you probably distrust Miss McKinsey. If you are old enough to have a parking decal on your car for a lot at a corporate park, you probably distrust Miss McKinsey. Yeah. But if you have a corporate issued laptop, nigga, you distrust Miss McKinsey. Listen, it's one of those things that if you are a grown up long enough, you end up distrusting McKinsey. There, I said it.
Elder millennials, but I will say the thing with, as much as I distrust McKinsey, he says all the right things in a way that makes me think he's positioning himself to govern a certain way. Yeah. I don't pick up the sort of there is a disingenuousness to him that I see in people who are in similar positions, who I think are saying what they need to say to capture the widest variety of people. And what Pete Buttigieg is saying does not capture the widest variety of people. He is making enemies by the things he is saying. And that leads me to believe there's a sincerity to it. It's the opposite. I would rather have a Pete Buttigieg from McKinsey than I would have a Beto O'Rourke at all.
But Beto O'Rourke...
You know what Beto O'Rourke is?
What is he?
Poochie. From The Simpsons. He's Poochie. He's the new, shiny new character that skateboards around, thinks he's so cool, but no one actually likes.
Oh, God. Why you coming for Robert Francis like that? Why you gotta come for Robert Francis like that?
Because as much as sometimes he says the right things, he is also a spotlight grabber, and he is a sensationalist. He goes out and says shit like, yes, we're coming for your guns. And I'm like, I don't care.
As a Texan, why'd you do that? Why did you do that? That is the dumbest shit you could have ever said in your life. Bitch, I hope you don't run for a goddamn thing again. You gonna get your ass beat. No, Coleman Alred ain't said that kind of dumb shit. He hasn't, and he won't.
He'll get beat the way he always gets beat, because you know what? He lost a Senate election to one of the most unlikable people on the planet Earth, who has some of the most unfavorables with his own party.
How do you
lose
to Ted Cruz? That's why I think actually that and I can understand why some people think Colin Allred might pull it out. He might, bitch, he might. It's a long might, but it's a shorter might than what Beto had.
Beto had a way of getting the narrative to change in the wrong way. He tried to take the spotlight in a way that would highlight himself, but would gave ammunition. And the fact is, and I know people will say you don't need to give the Republicans ammunition, they'll do anything. But the fact is, and I've said this my whole life, messaging matters. And it's not the people you think of that you're trying to reach. It's the people who don't think like you do. Mm-hmm. And so you are trying, always trying, as unfair as it might be, to get the messaging to match in a world that is incredibly unfair, because Republicans are fucking geniuses with messaging.
Yes, they are. I've lost count when I think of something as simple as the Potter's House ad buy. W did this. I know it because I saw it. He ran ads during TD Jakes' show, The Potter's House. He chose his faith-based initiatives to run during those ads to run during the Potter's House. Do you know? I think that was one of the largest segments of Black evangelical women ever to go for Republicans. They probably won't admit it. It's probably a shameful secret, but it happened.
Look, I voted for George W. Bush in 2004, and I voted for McCain in 2008, and I voted third party, so throwaway in 2012, mostly. But, ultimately, I think a lot of people have a sort of old shame, because a lot of people are messaging matters, and a lot of people are captured by effective messaging. And I hate to beat a dead horse about this, and I'm sorry for people who think, no, morals matter. Like, morals matter in who you are. Messaging matters in getting elected so you can put in judges who make sure that we still have a Voting Rights Act and still have Roe versus Wade. Oh, wait, we don't.
Yeah. And it's the fact that...
Congratulations for everybody who stood their morals and voted for Jill fucking Stein in 2016. You did great standing on principle, you fucking idiots.
And now we're about ready to go through that shit again. On one hand, the stakes on both sides are bigger.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. There's a difference.
They're hella bigger. This is a case where I have to sit down and I have to think about.
I do not. I should. If anybody turned off by what I said before, that is what applied in 2016 when the choice was a very obvious choice. With Biden and his basically unequivocal support for carpet bombing of, a population inside a 25-mile,
that's already gone through way too much as it is.
I think it is perfectly reasonable and acceptable for someone to say, I can't stand behind this. I think strategically it is wrong, not because I think genocide is okay, but because I think it is genocide versus bigger genocide. And there is a long game involved in protecting human rights.
There is a very long game involved. It's the idea that I know that this is something that they have been preparing for, they have been ratcheting up for since we were children. Before then, since the moment the gavel dropped in I believe it was the Berger or the Rehnquist court on Brown versus Board of Education, that it's been in motion since that moment. Biden is just a hiccup.
There is, we live in a minoritarian country because of the way our system has been set up, and the way, you see what's happening in Wisconsin. Oh God, I just pulled a Trump. Well, you see what's happening, but in Wisconsin, their Supreme Court just elected a tipping point 5th liberal member. Yes. And because even though judges are allowed to campaign their partisan appointments, they said because of her issue stance, she has thus prejudged a redistricting case, and they must impeach her because she threatens the current hegemony
Yeah, Wisconsin. Listen. There are certain states that people really don't know how bad it is to not be white. Simply because that particular state is above the Mason-Dixon. People really don't know how bad it fucking is to be not white. And
I appreciate that.
on Wisconsin, bitch.
I mean, that area, the entire Midwest, is rife with. I thank James Llewellyn's book about sundown towns, pointing out how like there were hundreds of them in like the Chicago area
and
or Illinois area, Rust Belt and Midwest and everything.
I will never forget finding out about a woman. She was black, 21 years old, selling books door to door. Selling books, y'all. Someone beat and shot her. And this was like a 21-year-old girl. Someone beat, someone shot her. No one was arrested. No one was even questioned. But everyone knew who did it. And that motherfucker got to die peacefully in his motherfucking bed.
A lot of
and there's more than one story that like that.
I there's an era of the country that with mass communication, it won't happen again on a mass scale. And it was before the advent of Social Security and identifying numbers. But one thing that happened with the,
Red Summer,
these wasn't that specifically, but in general, just migrations of people moving. If they didn't move as a family, you'd have someone in your family that says, I'm going up to go to Kentucky, from Alabama, whatever, or I'm going up to West Virginia. I'm getting a job
going to New
there.
York. I'm going to New York. I'm going to Boston. I'm going to Philly.
And you wouldn't think twice about never seeing them again, because who knows? But
yeah,
a lot of people simply were disappeared.
Some people left.
Disappeared. I say they were disappeared.
Someone, you had a cousin that disappeared, and then the very next day, an uncle would say, "I got a job working the trains based out of Philly. I'm out." And it also dovetails with some very interesting genetic stories. Did you ever hear about Joe Manganiello?
No.
Joe Manganiello isn't Italian at all.
Is he the actor who was
Big Dick Ritchie from Magic Mike? Or Alcide from True Blood?
The guy from True Blood. I remember him from the new Pee Wee Herman movie more than anything, where he played himself.
Yeah, turns out he's German, not Italian, and he's a sliver black. Sliver black, that's the relative that gave him the last name Manganiello. And I'm like, how many Italian Americans would have to swap out the red, green, and white for the red, green, and black if they found out that they got that dark skin and that curly hair from a relative who had to leave, from a black person who had to leave town, take a new name, and vanish into a group where no one was going to notice.
There's tons of it in southern Italy, especially in southern Italy. You had a lot of migration, not just from Greece, but from, the Middle East and from Northern Africa. And a lot of that, I mean, you even look into my genetic background and there's a little bit of Middle Eastern in there, but it's just there is a great deal of migration that has to happen with a lot of cultures that are continually put upon.
I mean, let's put it like this. I will not be surprised if four generations down, many black families are going to find out that 4 or 5, 10 generations, they're going to be like, yeah, there was a migration of Palestinians into your area. Your great-great-great-grandfather? Yeah, no, he was Palestinian.
So let's actually talk about that, because I do want to talk about, we're talking about Biden and the choice to vote for him in 2024, and I'll finish that thought. It is, I still think the calculus is that it is necessary to vote for Biden, not as a force of good.
You don't have to like it.
Of an end game in the fact that I'm not trying to say that the lives of Palestinians are worth a certain number of judicial appointments.
They're not.
It's a sort of the presidency and world affairs happens to us no matter what we do. And our best course is to say, I realize people get tired of hearing harm reduction when there's so much fucking harm. No matter what we do.
Yeah. For me, it's a question of Trump already said he's going to bring back the Muslim ban. Trump already said that he's literally going to, Biden already said, okay, I really don't want to be part of this. I'm going to let Israel do what they want. Trump's not only going to do that, Trump is not going to give the Palestinian community anywhere to evacuate to. Basically, he is going to basically be like, yeah, you're not running here. I'll tell you that much. And
let's not forget that Trump is the one who moved the embassy to Jerusalem in the first place and set off the Great March of Return.
So basically, it's going to be like, I'm not going to say that I'm going to openly side with Israel, but I'm definitely going to stand by and let Israel destroy you. While it's more a case of, do you by staying home, allow the person who basically says, I will let them destroy you, versus I don't want them to destroy you, but I really don't know what to do. And I'm really too emotionally weak to do I really believe in the institutions of things too much to do something radical like a ceasefire. Because at the heart of it, Biden's an institutionalist. He believes in institutions. So he's like, he's probably going to come. It's probably in his mind going to come down to, I believe in the UN and the government of Israel too fucking much to actually really engage serious problem solving skills on this.
It's a really shitty situation to say and to ask someone, please vote for someone who will facilitate a kinder, gentler genocide. I really don't have the moral calculus that says if you abstain and don't vote for Biden, you're a bad person. That's not true. I understand someone at this point who will not vote for Biden. I disagree with it from a strategic standpoint, and I think it will lead to a worse result in the world.
Yeah, and it's going to lead to, it's more a case of, it's a case of, I don't like, Trump already empowered people like DeSantis, and I have to live under DeSantis. What the fuck do you think is going to happen to a state like Florida, where on one hand, he says all the nice things that you want to hear about anti-Semitism, but on the other, he's perfectly fine with letting Nazis march wherever the fuck they want, with letting things like laws that allow somebody to run you over if you're protesting, unless you're Cuban. It's the trickle down. This is the actual trickle down effect the Republicans have. The trickling down of the hatred down to the local level. What do you think another term will do to groups like the Proud Boys?
They say there's a saying that all politics is local. Yeah. And to a certain extent, it's true that, there's a lot of let me start over.
Okay.
Trump didn't occur in a vacuum. Trump was the result.
No, he didn't.
Trump is a result.
Trump was a result of white people of white people having a collective conniption over Obama. As milquetoast as he was, they made him into some sort of afro-wearing, bomb-throwing Trotskyite, when in reality he was not the bomb-throwing, yeah. But, hey! Had to do it.
But listen to me drone on about it.
Hey! Listen, it's, and on one level, did I do that for a cheap joke? Not really, but on the other, it's not, I'm not above reminding people, he wasn't a saint, but despite the fact that he was actually pretty regular and middle of the road and will be going to the same hell that the rest of the United States presidents will be going to, with the exception of Jimmy Carter.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. But to the Republicans, he's some fire-breathing radical that and white people could not handle.
What I liken it to is like I said, all politics is local in the sense that Trump started. Mm-hmm. What enabled Trump came from the bottom up, but it would be a mistake to assume that just because Trump didn't happen in a vacuum, that he can't affect the greater politics from the top down. As you are saying, he is the example. See, what Trump represents was cancer, but what Trump can do is metastasize. And the ultimate issue with having Biden in the White House is making sure that there are more appointees to the federal bench that can change the completely bastardized direction that our judiciary has gone. Because, like it or not, the judiciary is the most powerful branch of government. They designed it that way. They engineered it that way. And it just is what it is. Save for a full-on revolution, that ain't changing.
Yeah, and we're too scared and too polite to do. Everyone thinks Americans are not polite. No, we are too polite for a revolution. We're too polite. We don't do that. We'd rather not, because we've seen and helped create what revolutions do in other countries. We are not doing that to ourselves.
You know, it'd be hilarious is if we elected Trump and Chile fomented a coup in the United States.
That would be fair. It would be a case of, bitch.
I just the amount of memeing that would go on, I would immediately. Have Christian Bale representing Chile, holding an axe murdering.
Yeah, just listen.
Let's get a reservation at the United Nations now. You
bastards. Yeah, no. On a certain level, I would enjoy it because fuck you. We kind of had it coming. On another level, it would not be fun because I'm black, I'm queer, and chronically ill. I'm not built to last in horrible. We're not of a class of people that are built to last in horrible wars that interrupt basic services.
Whenever there is a apocalypse of some kind, whether it's a war or just environmental, usually when society breaks down, it's the most vulnerable people who are the victims first, and it is what it is. When we
the only good thing I can think of is that usually the bigger the country, the longer the collapse. So it's like a country like this might take at least 100 years to totally devolve, and I'm like, okay, I don't like it, but hey. I'll write everything down on a really good hard drive and bury it somewhere. Y'all have that.
Our collapse was sealed from the very beginning because we basically couldn't even get the friggin' Constitution shaped up because there's a couple of assholes. We're like, we're small, but we want to have the same amount of power. Why should Delaware forget it? Just let me keep my slaves.
Basically, it came down to, I don't want to give my poor white brethren the same amount of power that I could potentially give a black person, and we're not doing that. Or I don't want to give black people the same power that I could potentially give a poor white person. We're not doing all that.
Also, there were a lot of little farmers' rebellions.
Shays Rebellion, Whiskey Rebellion.
The Whiskey Barrel was like 1793.
I think all them little fires are about all the same within the same 20 to 40 year period.
Yeah, it certainly didn't stop. But part of the reason the Constitution was put into being wasn't, just to try to make the Union strong, but also because like these farmers are fucking just they're rising up everywhere. Can we
crazy?
Get,
it's
like a unified economy?
Like it's like a goddamn. They're like goddamn weeds.
And so part of it was to make sure the ruling class were like, let's just give enough crumbs to the peasants and let them think they're getting some more power with this. And then we can still keep all of our property. Yes, yes, yes. South Carolina, that means people.
Yeah. And of course, it's like, yeah, we're going to make the indigenous people who were here when we came here a bunch of promises, but how are we not keeping them? Fuck that.
Wait a minute. It's like, yes, 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 yes. If you had the land there, it's yours, provided you're a Christian.
Oh, and if you're not, and if you are a Christian, we'll kill you. The Lenape Indians learned that the hard way.
So, but we'll still name all of our streets and shit after you.
And your count, yeah, we'll name all of our counties, our town, our small towns, our rivers, listen, I live in Florida. I have learned so many Miccosukee, Tequesta, Creek, Seminole. Like, I work for a tribe. I mean, I work for the corporate interests of a tribe, which is kind of which makes me feel less dirty. It's still corporate interests, but it's the corporate interests of an indigenous tribe.
Well, so it's like when you say when we say eat all the billionaires, Rihanna can stay.
Yeah, yes. It's like we know. It's like we want to say eat the rich, but nah, Rihanna's cool. She's cool. We like her. It's like she's the last. It's like she's going to be the last. She knows she's going to be the last billionaire. So I think she's holding on to her last album, so that way that can pass. That can be like halfway through the revolution. She's going to release the last she's going to release another album. She's going to wait. She's going to wait till, Bezos, Musk, and them are consumed. Then she'll drop an album.
I was listening to the song of hers. It's like a 2-part song. Let love. Why do I?
Was it from the Black Panther 2 soundtrack?
No. It's called Mother Mary. /love. Why do I forget the name? The point is, it sounds like the 80s. It's got that like that great chorused guitar. It was really like it sounded like new wave. I just loved it.
I'm gonna have to save that since I'm crazy enough and the economy is shitty enough that I'm actually going to be going back to doing burlesque again. Bruh. I'm like, I need new wave, quasi new wave, because there's only so much Kaczynski I can bump and grind to. This is,
I mean, pretty dramatic and bombastic. So I'm looking it up now because I have to.
I mean, it's a really tiny. Listen. I'm going to be potentially working out of a really tiny gay club, but you know what?
They love Rihanna. Holy shit!
Now you tell me.
This is killing me. This is why I'm really mad that I can't remember the name because I love the song. It's something / Mother Mary. Why the hell am I having trouble with this?
I don't
know. Not Joe Satriani, Smokey Robinson, Rihanna. Love Without Tragedy, Mother Mary.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. That's gonna be stashed somewhere. But like right now, like I said, I'm like quietly putting myself in poverty by like buying material and working through that. And I'm like, I don't know if I should continue to watch Dracula because all that's going to make me do is be like, should I get a costume that looks like that?
They spend thousands upon thousands.
I know. Like they are like, I'm pretty sure they don't make every single thing themselves, but it's like, this is how I think the process goes. The monster / contestant conceives it, brings it to the seamstress, dressmaker, fabricator.
This is why so many drag queens and trans people cosplay, because it helps build the craft.
Yeah, it's literally why they watch anime. It's literally why they watch cosplay to support their drag and cosplay habits. Listen, I've been peep game, but they bring it there and then they work on it. Then when they go to the competition for the cameras, they're gonna like last minute stoning, last minute adaptation, last minute making room for gags. It's like right now I realize what I'm doing is going to be a cross between burlesque and drag. So, because my lip syncing skills, they're not bad. They're not pro level yet, but they're not bad.
If the show is good and they don't have the lip syncing itself doesn't have to technically be great.
I like for it to be.
It's funny. Microphone skills aren't about what you say; it's about how
you say it. Every time.
And so lip syncing skills are not so much about how accurately you are syncing your lips. It is about how you are selling it.
Every time.
Putting your everything into it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those things that you get better at it the more you do it. And then, every so often when you remember that the show is mostly a burlesque show, because then you got that one motherfucker who comes out with an instrumental and they're like doing 14 different flips and gags and shit all over the stage. And I'm like, you motherfucker. I don't know if I want to do this tonight.
You ever see someone who's so good at what they do and you're just like, why do I bother? Why do I try?
Yes! Or this is what happens. I try not to get my feelings in that way. I'm just like, okay, this person is pushing me to be better. Now I got to think about what new shit I got to come up with to keep up with their ass.
That's like listening to Rush for me. I mean, depending on the album, but it's like sometimes I'm listening to it and I'm just like, I am never going to be good at playing guitar as, Getty is at the bass or as Neil was at the drums. I'm never going to be good as Alex, but Alex makes me feel like I could.
Yeah. Like there's that one person who's like, they're good, but they're approachably good. Like
Alex is approachably good.
Like it's like you realize half her shit is just her facial expression and a fan. Bitch, I can do bitch. Okay. Half her shit is facial expression and a fan. Noted. Yeah, you sit there and you're like, I could do that.
Well, before we end the show, I do want to talk about one thing that's been bugging me lately, and so I refer to it basically as malpractice on the part of Democrats, and specifically a message to Joe Biden, his spokespeople, and pundits even. Stop telling people the economy is great. Stop it. This is how you lose. I don't care what metrics say. People don't feel like it's great.
It's great.
You can sit there and say, well, they're wrong. It's not wrong to them if they don't feel it, because what they feel is going to translate into their vote. So what they feel matters. And if they feel in a way that is out of touch with so-called statistical reality, then you have to make them feel like you hear them.
You have to say, listen, you have to put the statistical reality aside, and you have to say what needs to be said.
It's like going up to people who are victims of violent crime saying violent crime is down, actually.
You're like, it may be down, but
let's say that too.
Yeah, it's like it may be like violent crime may be down, but does that even matter if you're the victim of a violent crime?
Yeah. It's why it's a losing argument, and they should not talk about crime, because Republicans are going to keep saying crime is horrible, rampant, blah, blah, blah. And if the Democrats fall into the trap of saying that's absolutely not true, crime is, much better than ever has been, all it takes is some incredible sound clipping and dramatic music over black and white images of people looting shit. And
preferably black people.
Yeah, it is going to make a lot of nervous voters who feel economic anxiety vote for Trump again.
Mm-hmm.
the economy, I hate to sound like James fucking Carville, but he was right. It's the economy, stupid.
Every time.
It's, yes, it's very clear that horrific racial animus was behind Trump. But ultimately, the voters you can win are not those people who feel the racial animus. They're the people who feel like they need someone to hear their economic woes. When people say, economic
Or even
anxiety,
pretend to hear them.
yeah, well, when people say that economic anxiety was the reason for Trump, a lot of people dismiss it and say, no, it's racism. Like, well, yes,
I don't know.
It's
I would say it's kind of a 65-45 situation.
That's
where
what I'm getting at here is that
it's a 65-45.
You need to.
It really depends on where you are.
You need to stop discounting the Trump voters who did it. Now, I still believe with everything Trump publicly said he was going to do, what he was planning to do. If you voted for him, fuck you. But that's a message from me as a person to someone else. If I were in Biden's shoes, I would be reaching out to the motherfuckers who change their votes on a regular basis every 4 to 8, 12 years, because people are malleable. People like you and me, we live and breathe politics. We think about it all the time, but most people fucking do not. And it may be hard for people like us to conceptualize, whose very existence has been termed political. But like, there are people you can reach who did vote for Trump. There are not a lot of them, but those are the people you fucking need because the margins are like 3 to 60,000 votes in very specific states where you need them. And since Biden is currently bleeding Middle Eastern heritage people in Michigan, he is losing Palestinians, Somalians, people from Arab descent, people from the Middle East who are otherwise Christian, who see what Biden is not doing for people who they know in the Middle East.
Personally.
We can only go so far as like, it's not just a Muslim issue, it's not just a Palestinian issue. These people have brethren, these people have friends. There are Christian Palestinians, there are Jewish Palestinians.
There are Christian Palestinians who, I thought of it right now. I didn't tweet it, but I'm like, right now, there are whole families of Christian Palestinians at the gates of heaven, looking back forlornly at earth and saying, we did not have to come here this soon.
I want to.
We did not have to come here this soon. It did not have to go down like that. There are people who have left this earth knowing that it did not have to go down like that.
So the Netanyahu family commissioned a biography of Bibi's father once upon a time. And in that biography, the biography spoke to Bibi when he was younger. And I'm going to read a passage from the book.
Mm-hmm.
At Bibi Netanyahu's dinner table in Jerusalem, I listened with crawling dismay to Bibi talking about the future of his country. Quote, in the next war, if we do it right, we'll have a chance to get all the Arabs out, unquote, he said. Quote, we can clear the West Bank, sort out Jerusalem. Quote. He joked about the Golani Brigade, the Israeli infantry force in which so many men were North African or Yemenite Jews. They're okay as long as they're led by white officers, he grinned. Bibi Netanyahu has been waiting for an excuse for a long fucking time. And we can talk about the barbarity of what Hamas did because Hamas are an evil organization whose goal is to eliminate Jews. No one's defending them when they say that Israel should not have killed 10,000 or more people in a month in a campaign to try to eradicate Hamas. I mean, Hamas leaders aren't even in the Gaza Strip.
They're in Qatar.
What fucking end? And I mean, what hostages are you saving if you're indiscriminately bombing? I digress.
For me, it's just a matter of one thing that has that they're doing right now is they're starting to show TikToks of female Israeli soldiers. One did a "get ready with me before I go into Gaza," and I'm like,
that's certainly a choice.
I'm like, that's a choice. And if I know the little that I do know of my Old Testament, I don't think God was very much a fan of you beating your face before you go. Yeah.
Well, after all, I mean, what is happening is not justice, it's not righteous, it is vengeance. And vengeance, after all, is mine, say the Lord.
The Lord.
And what I will say again, because I really have to point this out every time, I am not saying that Israel does not have the right to defend itself. They absolutely do.
You do,
And,
but I think we've gone past
what,
the defend itself. I think Israel has gone past defending itself.
this
They
is
have
not
gone past. Yeah, we are
what
now
Hamas did demanded a
past that.
response, but it does not demand this response.
Sure enough, don't.
And
Like,
in
to
fact,
me,
I'm going to say one more thing. I pretty much called it quits on a friendship. Not friendship, but someone I've known for 20 years, someone I respected, someone I cannot believe said something like this. But they posted something, they shared something on Facebook that said the following: to all the Gazans, if Egypt does not let you pass, try through the sea. It worked for us. This isn't some rando on the internet. This is someone I know.
I'm sorry.
And
I'm passing this along.
it's someone I know and respected, and I had love for this person. This person was someone I admired, someone who treated me with such kindness, who had supported me at times in my,
this was somebody who been there, a day zero.
And I'm not saying I think that this person, the only thing I'm saying is I can't. And so I have ended that connection. And I don't, and it's sad, but the other thing is, it's not just trolls on the internet saying horrible shit. It's
people you know. It's people you follow. It's pundits that you thought were level-headed. It's all these people, and you're just sitting there like, bitches, you really like that? Is you really like that? And you're learning about people, and you're just like, I don't know. What is up?
And to focus on that kind of thing from that perspective is not to say that the same thing is not happening in the form of anti-Semitism to Jewish people from anti-Semites. It's saying that people are really, really eager to absolutely erase the humanity of humans. People are really, really eager to say your state represents you as a person. Ergo, Palestine is Palestinians, Palestinians are Palestine, and Palestinians are Hamas. Or the IDF and Netanyahu, who are a fascist government and their military wing, equal the people living under that in Israel.
And not just do they equal the people living under that, the entire Jewish diaspora. And you're just like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Well, like when Trump says, like, you're referred to, Israel as your people, to your country, to these, what do Jewish people in Brooklyn have to, how are they equivalent? No, that's not how this works, Donald. But a lot of people see it that way. And no matter how you cut it, it's a horrible thing. And I just think that Biden has already done so much damage by basically rubber stamping with minimal to no resistance what Netanyahu has done. And here's, something like, why isn't anybody protesting on the streets against what Hamas did? We have no leverage against Hamas. They don't care. We don't have any military aid or funding that goes to Hamas.
No one has formally given them money. No one has given them the goddamn thing. And the people who voted for Hamas, that doesn't even make up the majority of the Palestinians who live in Gaza, much less the Palestinian diaspora. So honestly,
like, why don't the Palestinians do something about Hamas? I'm like, what
do you want them to do?
Like, should they go out and, like, they're this Hamas who controls, Palestine? Should they go out and protest in this So they do the Great March of the Return, they get shot at by the IDF, or do they want to demonstrate against Hamas and see how well that goes for them? I'm sure it was a free and fair election in 2006 when that happened too.
Oh yeah, Hamas so free, so fair.
Wonderful and kind government.
So free, so fair.
But I digress and digress and digress. I think the point is that Biden really fucked this up badly, and ultimately, no matter who is president next, this genocide is going to happen.
And it's like, could he have? And the fact that I don't know if he's going to ask himself, could I have stopped this?
I don't think he even thinks in those terms. I think he thinks he's supporting.
He's preserving. I think what it is he thinks he's preserving the institution of democracy in Israel. That's what he thinks he's doing. And I'm like, there is really no democracy. This whole thing is like, this is just simply a capstone on an authoritarian power grab by Netanyahu. Well, that's very simplistic, and I know I know that it's simplistic. I know that it's only partially accurate, but it's a starting point to help me understand what I'm looking at.
Well, I think we've said all that we can say. We'll just end up
It's also a starting point for the fact that it's a starting point to make up for the fact that the wrong brother died. Yeah, I said it. I shouldn't have said it, but I said it. Brother died.
I'm in too bad a mood to do the usual bit where we look up and pretend it's breaking news that Henry Kissinger's still alive. The fucker's still alive. I hope he dies. That's it. That's the show. Have a great night, everybody. We will be back, I presume, next week, provided, I don't know, whatever. Good night.
Good night.